Syria now, where the war is depriving a growing number of children of an education. A UN report is urging international donors to make sure Syria isn't left with an entire generation lost to conflict. Around half of Syria's refugees are children. That's 1 million of them. At least 280,000 are in Jordan, where life is anything but normal for most. More than half of them don't go to school. Lebanon is now home to nearly 400,000 child refugees. The vast majority, some 80% of them, aren't going to school there. While many Syrian refugees have spent months living in makeshift tents and sprawling camps. And with the onset of winter, life is about to get even tougher.
The UN is trying to raise awareness about the tragedy facing a generation of Syrian children. A report found they were traumatised and suffering psychological distress. More than 1 million youngsters have been displaced by the war, with thousands living alone or separated from their parents.
The report also says many children are living alone or without their fathers and are often forced to work just to survive. About 75% of those refugee children are under the age of 12.
I think that the most dramatic for me was to speak with children that were clearly traumatized by violence. Children telling stories of their houses being destroyed or of members of their family being killed and having seen that.
Twins Uday and Luai describe how their family fled in the back of a truck when their village was shelled. The truck was ambushed. My mum was hit here, here and here, he says. He explains how she died in front of them. Refugees are disadvantaged right from the start. 1-year-old Mohammed does not have a birth certificate. It would cost $100 and take months, says his father. Many births aren't registered because parents fled without documents. The children are stateless. It could make return home impossible. To be a child refugee is often to assume a crushing burden of responsibility. Many have to work to support their families. It can be backbreaking, long hours for little pay, just a few dollars a day. They have no choice. The child may be the family's only breadwinner. UNHCR officials talk about a lost generation of Syrian children. They call the 1.1 million child refugees a shameful milestone of the conflict. It is, though, a crisis with no end in sight. In Lebanon, around 1 in 4 of the population is a refugee. Yet every day, more cross the border. Half of them, children.